Good time zone, scrappers, and welcome to your weekly Wednesday meditation. Today, you're just in time for the seminal classic, Violet Memories, scenes from a home temporarily flummoxed by a teenage blood rager. Silence. The sky traces a pale pink finger along the horizon. The stars flicker absently in the gentle glow of the torch. Overhead, the silence has taken shape, a great moth descending through dawn light outside a small family home. Figures stir inside. Have they been expecting this? Or has the strange become normal in the weeks since the torch went dark? Another figure separates from the moth in a cloud of wing beats, dust, and mammoth sweater particles. Next to the immense moth, the new figure looks tiny. Even so, it seems to shrink as the moth launches itself back into the air, leaving the resounding boom of a broken sound barrier in its wake. A small cluster of figures emerges from the house. As one, it seems to gather itself, then lurch forward across the small space to meet the now mothless figure on its own. A susurrus of sentiment and celebration follow, ending only when a small shadow breaks off back toward the house, a chicken clutched close to its tiny form. More figures peel off until at last just 3 of them stand in the ring of light from the home. Silence settles over them like a thick fog. Then, a few words. A few more. Shouts now. The 3rd figure joins, interposing itself in between the first 2. The quiet that had found its way to the perfect stillness inside the circle now settles outside of it. Finally, one figure poses a question. It seems to hang in the air like a living thing between them. A moment passes. Another. A certain far-off and fictional boyfriend is mentioned, then laughed back into the silence. This time, the 3rd figure moves closer toward the other 2. They seem, somehow, more difficult to tell apart now. Suddenly, a bright purple light seizes up into the air, streaking away like a star falling across the sky. It strikes another smaller winged figure, which promptly falls from the sky. The figure on the ground winces. There is another, final moment of comfortable silence as the figures disappear into the house, tittering. In the stillness, a chicken cries. This is Pot Against the Machine.
Pot Against the Machine.
Welcome back to Pot Against the Machine, the only actual play podcast wherein the appliances are more dangerous than the bosses. I'm your host, and here's everybody.
I'm not guilty, you're guilty.
This is just like that movie with the drugs and the jump-scared refrigerator. That's what I always think of when I think of terrifying appliances.
Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Actually, I was going to add, oh gosh,
That
what
movie
is
didn't
it?
happen.
Requiem
Brave
for
Little
a Dream?
No, Brave Little Toaster. Yes,
No, that was made on drugs. She's talking about them being in the...
Requiem for a
plot of
Dream. Yes, Zach. I was going to make the same funny joke that Jeff did, but he got there first.
Oh, man. Brave Little Toaster.
Requiem for a Crystal Toaster.
Oh, there it is. Epititle.
Nice.
So previously on the program, I don't think anything happened. The party began exploring the choking tower, or they had already started, and they did more exploring. They went into a hallway and found some schematics. They checked out the schematics, and a ghost came out of them, and the ghost kicked their butts a little bit. They weren't really prepared to fight a ghost that was throwing fireballs and weird clouds of negative energy. And the ghost ran away after about 12 seconds. And then everybody was like, oh, God, this cloud is still here. Let's stand in it for a little while. And that didn't go great. And they all left. They went into a kitchen. And the kitchen seemed nice. Brixby started poking around, and then the oven fell open and blew out a fireball. That fireball did a bad thing. It toasted Alwyn to death. Brixby pretty close to death, but Alwyn all the way there.
Yep. What was Brick's ad? You were at like 2 or 3 away?
-10, I think.
Boop, do, do,
Yeah.
do. Let's look.
Yes, that would have been 3 away, I think. What's your con? 13?
Yeah, my con is 14. I was close.
14.
Real
Still close, though.
Yep.
Yeah.
Soup's toasty.
Because that could have easily been a higher roll.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's when we were talking about it
Yeah.
between sessions, when I said it very easily could have been Brixby. Very easily could have been Brixby. I just got I felt like a lighter amount of damage in that cloud, I believe, or something like that. I mean, you're just a little squishier than me anyway.
Also doesn't help that I fell asleep halfway through the episode and forgot to heal.
If I could just suggest that we don't murder any more characters, I think everyone should be less squishy. I don't firm up yourselves.
Yeah, you're only putting points in con from here till level 16, 17, Jero. We want a
I hate to
commitment
tell you how
on
to play your
air.
character, but
But also toughness next level. And
Die Hard.
Toughness and
Yeah, I was going to say
die
Die Hard.
maybe just we're a different race. Like a half orc is super good at.
Well, the funny thing about that, I died by a single point. One of the options I could have chosen for my, not my race, but one of my sorcerer bloodline things, and I decided not to pick it because my ancestry gives me DR against cold, or not DR,
resistance.
damage reduction against cold resistance. And I'm like, well, I don't want to double down on that, so I'm not going to pick this one sorcerer thing that gives me the same amount of cold resistance and fire resistance. I'll pick a different.
Only we had known.
And lo and behold, like 20 episodes later, what comes back on me?
quaff the bard, you live, you learn.
The bard do quaff that.
I wish I could shout her out as a member of our Discord, but she has not yet joined our Discord.
Yeah.
So instead, Izzy is going to tell us which Discord member we intend to honor today.
It's gonna be. Oh no, I don't remember anyone's official names. I only have Triple Chooch Cat, but Triple Chooch is what's important because of the chooching, which I'm so glad we've gotten back to. I had promised that I would bring it up on episode long ago, and I don't think I did a good job of that. So remember what sounds trains make: chugga, 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 chooch. Or chooch, chooch, chooch. That's really funny.
So when we left things, the party had just floated Alwyn's corpse out of the choking tower, and it's not too late in the day, but at least you didn't get murdered any further, and now you're out in the smokewood.
So I imagine, like, Brixby's the only one that at least has to keep immediate proximity because Alwyn's on the disc. And the disc dissipates if it gets too far from the caster. So, like, the whole time, Brixby, who at this point may be more guilt than rat, just given how this story is played out, especially in relationship to characters played by Jero, like, is just, I mean, beyond dejected. It's like to a point of like displaced, and like he's staring at the ground and muttering a lot more. And I mean, like, you know, if you'll permit me, if anybody is nearby and wants to roll a perception check, perhaps you could maybe hear what I was going to say, because it's pretty under his breath, but it is almost repeated over and over and over like a mantra. Like it's almost like he's just going in or out of shock.
Natural 16 for a 22.
I don't think Kira's listening because she's a terrible person caught up in her own feelings.
That's fair. That's fair. So, yeah. So just Asher, you know, I guess to keep it fresh, I'm going to just message this to Jeff on Discord.
Ooh, so fresh.
And that's how it's going.
So clean.
Sorry, I have to explain my like misplaced laughter.
Fair.
Sam dropped in the Discord. What's an Allowan roll?
The funny thing is, I almost rolled to see what I would get just to do
Aw.
that as a joke, and I'm like, no, that's a little too dark.
It's like he's still here. While we're communicating quietly between us, I think Kira is similarly just quiet. But this was not. It's not the same quiet of after Vargas. This is like a. Frankly, I think you've known her long enough, and with her like little rage spells, like you've seen this. This is like she is furious, like tense, just a walking thunderstorm sort of thing. Really, really peak like teenage moody. She's gonna walk to the nearest bedroom door and slam it just for fun.
The long walk.
Yeah,
Just slam some moth rock down.
It's that or punch a hole in a wall, and we are. Well, I don't think I'm gonna touch any walls anytime soon. No walls.
This is like, when you think about it, this is the third time in, like, how much time has passed in universe since we started at the torch? Like a month
and a
maybe
half.
a little over. Yeah, so this is like the third time in that amount of time that somebody that she's adventured with has done, because it was Parda,
Yeah.
and then
Oh,
Vargas.
I know.
Vargas got better, but she didn't know he was going to get better.
Got better.
And now, again.
Yeah, she's having some aggressive thoughts and feelings, as you do when you're 15 or 16 or something.
And I think it's like that all the way. I don't think anybody is going to change.
So joyful.
Yeah.
So the sad walk back to Long Dreamer's lair, which is just like a quarter mile through the woods, but by now you've done it a couple times, so you know the way. You find the moth chilling in her normal spot. Maybe she's perched on her rock and looking up at the sky and chewing on a sweater. Just, doing moth things. She will cock her head as she sees the state of everyone on arrival. The tattered and burnt out clothes and the disc carrying the one member of the party who is not able to be upright.
We need to go to Yadenve. Allowan has fallen. We need to see if the brothers or anyone can bring him back. Can you take us there, please?
He means you're going to take us there.
He means you're going to take us there, right?
And the giant space moth, since it's not actually touching any of you right now, will do a moth blink, even though moths don't have eyelids, as was clarified in the Discord. She still blinks.
But moths don't generally interstellar travel either, so take creative license.
Sure.
This is
She
your
has
universe.
Desnan eyelids. They have like the symbol of the butterfly on them. They were added specifically by her god. It's a boon.
It's like tattooed eyeliner.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Just microbladed in there.
She will just kind of lower herself down rather somberly. She seems to understand the general mood and maybe what a dead body looks like. And she will allow all of you to climb on.
I'm really sorry that I have to bring this up logistically, but we have to put him in the bag.
Why?
I think he'd fall off otherwise, going moth miles an
Just-
hour.
Yeah, we're about to go. As previously established, Moth 5, and it's real fast. No, I don't like it any more than anyone else does. It doesn't feel right to put him in a place that's dark that no one can see. But it's only going to be for a little while. I just want to make sure he gets there safe.
No, I can do it. I can hold him. I'm not putting him in that bag.
Fine. Fine. Whatever. Fine. And he just gets on the moth.
And Kira for a second looks a little stricken, just like a, oh, okay, and then stomps onto the moth. It's a real angry walk.
Poor moth.
I was gonna say that poor moth.
I know.
Asher stays behind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Asher's fine.
He's like, I'm going to take the next moth that's a little bit less uncomfortable.
it's a little
Yeah.
tense on this moth.
Seeing that stomp, I think Asher just has a casual detect evil on Kira to wonder, like, has this really fundamentally changed her? But she doesn't show as evil, so I think he will pretty quietly.
Way to play Izzy's character there, by the way.
Wow.
I mean,
I
You don't know.
appreciate
She might have
it.
taken an alignment shift and not told him.
Yeah, just right across the board.
All right, good
She
night,
doesn't.
guys.
That's evil.
Yeah, Asher will quietly get on the moth. Long Dreamer. He is, I think he's kind of in his head about the whole thing.
Can't imagine why.
Weird.
The role playing for this whole episode is just going to be tense silence.
Makes really particularly good radio.
really does.
The trick is we cut it all out, and then the episode is like 3 minutes long.
Yeah, listeners, just so you know, we are 90 minutes into this recording. So Long Dreamer will take to the skies and perhaps more gently than usual. Maybe she's being a little bit more careful given that there's a dead body wrapped in a dead friend blanket on her back. Fly back to Yadenve. And it's not as far as Torch, but it still does take a couple hours to get there as the moth flies. And then she'll lower you down to the ground it's in a pretty wide open space, at least on a couple sides. So she will come down for a rather gentle landing in a field, like sort of alongside the road outside of town, because she's not really comfortable landing a moth the size of the house inside an establishment, established civilization.
They should really think about installing a pad on top of High Home to be considerate towards large flying creatures, Asher says, trying to lighten the mood. Then he feels awkward and gets quiet again.
Look, I appreciate it. If you want, you can give Long Dreamer the remainder of this this throw blanket that I've been carrying. They seem to really like the fact that it's grey. Just hold your hand flat like it's a horse. Eyelids, they also have teeth for some reason.
And one of those long tongues like giraffes have, so it just sort of wraps around the blanket.
Yeah, prehensile tongue.
Claws.
Prehensile tongue, rows of shark teeth.
Yes, this is a creature of pure horror.
Terror moth.
Chaotic.
Yeah, just a little too much time in deep space.
When you stare into the void stares back into you.
And becomes a moth.
Who eats a sweater?
I knew I loved this moth. But right as I guess maybe they're just getting to the door, Brixby stops and puts his hand on Alwyn's body. And then actually makes eye contact with Kira for maybe the first time since it happened, or at least since they had that exchange right after. Says,
I'm sorry, and I know that I could have prevented this, which is what makes it so much worse. I have been asking for your forgiveness one way or another for weeks, it feels. And for that, I am also sorry. But an apology means nothing without a change. And I want to promise to both of you that I intend to change. I am going to going to be myself a bit more. Going to protect us and contribute in a way that only I can. And I'm sorry that I haven't. I have nothing to prove anymore. I just want to be good. And I'm sorry to both of you.
Kira is quiet for a while, but from that first apology, for the first I'm sorry, like the tension, the anger has sort of dropped away, and in place of like surprise, shock, like he may as well have slapped her in the face, just sort of a and starts really like listening and hearing what he's saying for maybe the first time since Alwyn went down, and just sort of looks at him for a little bit and says, Brix, I know that you feel bad for what happened with Alwyn and with Vargas, and I'm sorry that I made any of it seem like it was you. But it wasn't. And I think that you are good. Good. Bad doesn't look like what you do and what you've already done. Bad doesn't look like any friends of mine, and Brixby, you are my friend, so let's work together to make this better. We'll get Alan back on his feet, and then we can both protect us. All four of us. We can be good together. She gives him a hug.
Thank you, big stuff. And just leans into that hug. Is just kind of lets go and cries. But, rats can't cry, so it's passive crying.
It's passive. Just moisture leaking from his face.
He's just
that one of those animal facts, like moths have teeth. Rats can't cry.
Yeah, it's just from
Every
all
pore
sides.
on his body, yeah. Gross.
He's got so
Gross.
many
That's a
extra
wet rat.
holes in his face that it's just... Oh, it's a mess.
Oh, this is so gross.
And it smells like the subway in the summer. It's just awful.
Kira's standing there, like, patting his shoulder, but looking very uncomfortable. Just,
All right, yeah. No, I
Also,
understand.
as established, his face is rubbery, so it's also kind of like filling up before the liquid comes out like a water balloon.
Yeah, no, he
gross.
wrings it out. He thoroughly wrings it out. And with a guitar string kind of twang, like it's dry, slaps it back in. You see the little outline of his skull. It's very 90s Nick. And and just, I guess, all right. Let's go in.
And I think the Temple of Erastil, which we're all pretty familiar with by now, is just a very plain meeting house. It's the late afternoon at this point. If you open up the doors, the main area is pretty quiet right now. Maybe there's a few parishioners here and there. But over in the back, Brother Derviach is sitting by a window, sort of in a sunbeam looking out. And next to him is Red Fang, who looks like he's, on the mend, or he's basically back to normal from his cutscene injuries. Maybe they're just calmly holding hands as they look out into the sunlight. And then Brother Derviach will kind of happen to look over at the lot of you, and then startle out of his chair after a second to realize what he's seeing. And he goes, "Oh, what happened to you?"
There was an accident.
That's horrible. Is he? I mean, is...
Yes, he is. Can you do it? We need him back.
How long has it been?
Not long.
A few hours.
Okay.
Hours or two,
Then I should be able to. He looks relatively intact as long as he's willing. Let me this. I hate to even ask, but this requires a substantial amount of diamond dust, and
we have it. We have it. Yeah. Don't worry. You'll get you due. We appreciate it.
Aldrin, if you could go into the back and fetch my emergency supplies. And Aldrin will get up, kind of looking pretty nervous at the lot of you, and goes, "Oh, of course, I'll be right back." And head off in a hurry into the sort of back area where there's more of a office for the brother, and he'll go, let's lay him out over here. And he's got like the sort of converted cot type of thing that Red Fang was using before. He'll direct you to bring the body over there.
Yeah. Kira will flip him out of the blanket, just as usual. The same care that we always treat our dead friends. Flap.
I like to think
Making sand off
it's
a
like
beach
when a magician, pulls the tablecloth and none of the place settings are moved. She just like whips it out, and it's like he's just laying perfectly reposed.
Yeah, she's gotten real good at displaying dead bodies.
It's a resume entry if I've ever seen one.
Poor child.
So I think after Red Fang comes back with the diamond dust, or it's actually a diamond in this case, not diamond dust. It's interesting.
5,000 GP diamond or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one
Yeah.
crazy diamond.
And then it's 240 is the cost for them to do it. On top of that,
And Brother Dervish will thank Audrin, sort of clap a hand on his shoulder and take the diamond, and he'll put it on Alwyn's face, basically like right on his right eye, so it's kind of propped into the little bit of a crook between his eye and his nose, just as a place to balance it. And the spell takes a minute to cast, so he's going through like a complicated series of gestures and quiet prayers, and petitioning to Erastil to bring his power down. And he says, this young man was a member of our community. He served our family well. Old Deadeye, I entreat you, in your wisdom, in your infinite wisdoms, turn your dead eyes upon this dead young man. Entreat with your sister Pharasma, and bring him back to us. And I think he closes his eyes and holds a hand over Alwyn's face, and the diamond is melding into the sort of magical energy from the spell accumulating, and the diamond just melts away, and all this light goes into Alwyn's body. And somewhere in the plains, the Alwyn's spirit gets a call. Does Alwyn respond?
I think at first, he hears it, and he probably hears for the entire minute something happening. Where he is, I think a bigger issue is that it's not exactly a domain that either of those two have a super lot of say in, but it does eventually reach him. And I think after maybe a little bit more time, almost enough to think that it didn't work, suddenly his eyes, which I imagine were just still open this whole time, just real creepy, suddenly fill up with stars again and go from looking like nothing to they're there, and the cracks in his skin like close up, not all the way, but they close up mostly, and I think suddenly he like starts breathing just like, and then just goes, "Oh, hello."
Hey, killer, you know what I would really love to see you do right now? Is, reach into this bag and pull yourself out a friend. Don't worry, it's the Temple of Erastil, it's cool. They're cool with animals. You're cool with animals, right? Right?
Yeah, they're fine.
Remember, he's listening.
Kira turns on the chainsaw again. Right?
Everyone knows God can't hear you over a chainsaw.
Brother Derviach has, I think, kind of blanched and like taken a step back as the spells ended, and he sort of just like nods kind of absently as he's just like slowly taking a couple steps back and watching the returned Alwyn.
And Alwyn will reach into, I'm assuming Brixby is like holding the bag out.
Oh, yeah.
He will reach in and pull out one of the little brown balls, and he doesn't throw it, he just kind of holds onto it until it turns into whatever it turns into.
It's a hippo.
And hopefully it's not an elk.
Yeah, I was going to say, if it's an elk, that's going to be... I mean, Derviach would be happy, but that would be... They're going to have to resurrect you again.
Roll me that
100,
D100.
right? Yeah. 100.
Well, the ball of fluff in Alwyn's hand turns quite suddenly, after a second or two, into a 4-foot-long, 120-pound leopard.
Leopard, yeah.
Oh, no.
So just
81 to 100 is a leopard, or 86 to 100. That's awesome.
Yep, just a monster of a big old cat. And probably is too heavy for Alwyn to just hold it up with the one hand, so the cat will...
Yeah, I imagine it just flops onto him and he just hugs it.
Yeah, the cat like flops onto him and probably weighs as much as he does, and it's the gigantic...
Too. I think he weighs like 130 or something. I have it on his sheet.
Asher will interpose himself between the leopard and Brixby, knowing that this is potentially a very dangerous situation.
Alwyn, are you okay?
I think so. Was very pleasant, but it feels better being back.
Yeah, I think we think so too.
And he just does not seem like phased at all for somebody that has just come back from the dead.
It should be noted that Alwyn probably feels pretty awful right now.
Yeah, he does have... Raised Dead does give you 2 negative levels, which I did tick on.
So, Brixby puts their hand on Alwyn and says,
Listen, something terrible happened. It was... What was worse is that it's my fault. I could have prevented it. I could have... It's not going to happen again, right? It's not. It's not going to happen again. It was just a kitchen. It was like any other room that we've looked over. It was a cutting board, an oven, and it's not going to happen again. I'm glad you're back.
And he'll kind of look in your direction, and he just says, I don't think you did anything wrong. I saw what happened after, and you just touched something and everything went white. You couldn't have known that it would do that. It's not your fault.
But I could. And I will. I will. From here on in. I will. As long as we are on this tower or these ships or anywhere else. I will. I will. let's get out of here. Let's go. Can we help you with anything? I want to get. Can we restore them? Actually, is there any way? Like, how much more is it to do?
The issue is there's very few things that remove permanent negative levels. Like, the restoration spell's the easiest one, but you can only use that once a week. So, actually, he will, when you say, is there anything we can do, he'll kind of rummage around in his robe and he'll say, he pulls out a scroll. This is something that I took with me when I left the colony that they said is very powerful magic. I can't use it yet on my own, but I should be able to cast it from this. And just 100% double check, if the scroll's on your list, you don't have to make a CMD roll for it, do you?
A caster check?
Yeah,
how much?
Or not a caster check.
No, it's higher. It's higher than your.
It
you're
is
capable
higher
of
than
casting.
what I'm at.
You have to make
It's
a
a
roll.
very low roll.
It's a super low
it's an
roll.
easy
It's
roll.
like
Easy caster level check.
I think it's literally like a.
Oh, it should actually be on the scroll.
Yeah, it's like 5 plus the spell level, so it's like a DC 9.
Oh, a DC 9 versus a... Oh, yeah, and I have a plus 7 to the roll because it's your caster level plus a D20, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he takes out this scroll and he says that it's powerful magic. It's not magic he can cast himself yet, but he should be able to use this. And I think he'll actually even show the scroll to Brother Dervich and say, This should help, right? I still feel like something's wrong, and that's supposed to be what this spell does.
And he'll look at the scroll and at Alwyn, sort of like cough a little bit and go, yes, yeah, that should help. I could cast it for you if you like, or if you can handle it yourself.
I think I can roll higher than a 2, because I think it's not. It doesn't destroy it unless it's a natural 1, right?
It doesn't even destroy it.
Or no, it doesn't destroy it. Just you can't cast it yourself.
You
for
just
like
can't
a certain amount of
cast
time.
it, and then...
Yeah, so if I fail, I can hand it to the brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a 6 on the die, so that's a 13.
That should be plenty.
Yeah, so he pulls open the scroll and he reads off what's on it. You see, as the scroll vanishes, like the cracks that are still there close up even more, and he looks almost normal, but not quite. And I think he'll say, that's what I can do. I still don't think I'm quite like I was before the fire happened, but I think this is the most we can do for right now. And out of character, having looked up what you do to remove permanent negative levels, like restoration spell, you can bathe in dragon's blood, which is cheaper, but you have to know where dragon's blood is.
Oh, if you want to go hunt down a dragon, we haven't taken enough side quests.
Is that wyvern still like rotting out in the field somewhere?
Yeah, we could. That's dragon-esque.
So I think maybe before we head out of town, we do have we can hand wave this if you're comfortable with that, Sam. We wanted to buy a wand that's level 2 with 20 charges on it, if possible. I don't know if you want to roll for like availability or if this is one of those like below the magic level of the town.
Yeah, I mean that should be pretty doable.
It is. I mean, I'm happy to share with the group. It's fine. It's a Wand of Aramze's Focus, which is a spell that Brixby already knows, but is what Brixby continues to reference for those that are keeping track at home about how he could have fixed this. For anybody that needs a little refresher on what that is, Aramze, who, if you've ever played Pathfinder Society, is the like really imperious and irritating and sneering kind of Severus Snape-esque wizard, which I love. I love him so much. I love petty, catty wizards so much. So he created this spell, for students. I'll save you the flavor text. But essentially, it will give Brixby trap finding again, which he did not get from his one rogue level. So this will also allow him to not only disable magical traps, and generally it also gives like a reroll on some disable device stuff. So there's a lot of like wizards do rogue stuff in there, and that's really kind of the approach that I think we're going to need for the remainder of the Zyphus murder of Numeria's funniest home videos death tower that we're about to go into. So like yeah, if we could grab that, and then I think that we are also all very emotionally taxed and need a day after shopping, which I know for those choky tower fans at home are like, when are they going to choke the heck out of that tower? But I tell you what, you're going to like this roleplay flavored glue tube. Oh, man, that was awful. Oh, no.
Oh.
Please. I'm cutting that straight to bloops.
Keep it in. Keep it in.
Oh, boy.
That was brutal.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope. That's the shame that keeps on shaming. Wow, gross.
buddy.
So it's fine. It's fine. Anyway, Brixby has the cool wand, and I think we need a day to do the opposite of one of those fun beach day montages where we still are a little morose but productive. As Brixby would like to scribe a couple scrolls. I think folks maybe had some other stuff they wanted to do.
Yeah, Asher would be wanting to spend a workday crafting some more ammo, especially realizing that there's some, maybe that we got all the constructs in the whole tower. Super doubt it, though. And his adamantine bullet storage is real low. So he was going to craft a bunch of those cartridges, maybe 20 of a different kind of cartridge, and then 43 just regular metal cartridges. Because you can craft 1,000 gold's worth of ammo in one day, and I've mathed it out to 999 gold and 8 silver.
So, perfect. So, I think maybe in addition to that, we'd like to pick up one other item for Kira. We're going to work out what the logistics of it are, but, I'll tell you. Because I like to see you sweat. It's a little ghost salt blanch. Little blanch. Just a little.
Oh, God.
Because who's, I mean, if we're going to hang out with our favorite ladies of television, where would we be without Blanche? All right? And so Blanche is coming along, and her ghost salt and her ability to chainsaw ghosts without reduction for anybody that is unsure on or off the podcast what that entails. But you will be able to cut the ghosts like they're made of supple hardwood.
That's so funny because that is what I also do when blanching fruits. They just become more weapony or easier to cut.
Since we're putting it out there, that's what I was being coy about. 20 ghost salt cartridges for Asher. Because one dose of ghost salt is either a swing and a hit or 10 pieces of ammunition. Mwah.
Ooh. So I wonder if it would be better then to put it on some arrows for Kira, because she's got it wouldn't do quite as much damage as her chainsaw, but she'd get more hits out.
I mean, we also only need a couple hits of Kira's chainsaw with most things.
Oh, yeah,
which is the other reason. Yeah. And because I mean, we could put them on some arrows, but that's 1d8 a whack plus if we have a...
Yeah, true. Yeah, I guess you're right. Kira only needs to hit
3d6 plus a crazy rage bonus and maybe even a crit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. And I think that we'll figure, I mean, I wish it would be easy to enchant a ghost touch on top of Ethel, but I don't know how much that would cost. I feel like that would be kind of expensive.
Well, Ethel is a +1, right? Not just masterwork.
Yeah, because you always have to have a +1, so it would be $6,000 total.
Oh, that's so
I mean, I was just thinking in terms of if it's a +1, it'll still do at least half damage
Yeah.
to a ghost.
Well, the
'Cause
chainsaw
it's a
is
magical
plus
But the
weapon.
chainsaw's +1, yeah. So
Okay,
that's
yeah.
that's
So
maybe,
I was gonna say that way, even without the blanch, like she can still swing a few times and deal.
But yeah, if we get the blanch, at least even the first hit coming off with
Yeah.
a raging chainsaw charge or something, right? If this is the ghost of a squishy caster, then like as
Yeah.
a squishy caster, I would suffer even half the damage of Kira being hit by a chainsaw. So please stop dying, Jiro, because I think we're one more character death away from Kira just cutting him in half.
And I imagine, like, even if, as ghosts do, he comes back, like, usually it's at least, like, a full day before a ghost comes back. So if we can smack him down, we should be able to get plenty of exploration done.
And Brixby, of course, has the fan favorite of me, the fan, Ghost Whip the Whip. And we'll whip the ghost with the Ghost Whip.
Ghost whip the whip.
Nay.
Kira's gonna go visit her mom and do some more training after making sure that everyone is not going to die in her brief absence.
Can't believe Kira is abandoning the team again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, if anyone
Really
has
got
someone
the
to
high-speed
scrape
rail
me,
moth.
Please
Steals the
don't
moth.
stomp on the moth anymore.
I'm sorry, Moth. I'm sorry.
Long Dreamer just has a mysterious accident. Just dumps her right off sideways. It's
Dumps her into the torch.
You hate to see it.
so that's why Kira didn't come back.
Perhaps she left a note somewhere. Should we go check and torch?
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. Where are we?
Well, that was an
We're
We're in
item.
Iden Bay, but the moth can get her to torch. in
Totally forgot about that.
2 seconds.
In my head, I was like, torch.
No, but you get to take the moth. Go train.
Take the moth out. and
Borrow
for a
the keys
spin.
to the moth from Brixby and
Yeah,
go
it's-
take it for a spin.
Don't worry, it's push to start. As in, you get on and you're like, go.
And the moth's like, all right.
I think one thing Alwyn would... I'm trying to think if he would ask if it would be a Brixby or an Asher thing, because like Brixby just had his whole big thing with the moth, but I feel like Asher is probably like the more spiritually aligned member of the party, so I think he would go to Asher, and I think he would probably come to him while Asher is working his little like mobile forge for his bullets, and kind of sit down with him and say, Asher, if it's not too much trouble, can I ask you a question?
Certainly. By all means.
I've seen you use healing magic, and you wear a symbol around your neck, Caldera, right?
That's right.
What? And he kind of stops for a second. What does your goddess say happens to you when something like what happened to me today happens?
Well, she's a little bit less concerned primarily with what happens after you die, so much as she is a goddess of luck and a little bit of mischief. Her teachings say that good luck is bestowed upon the righteous, and unlucky turns of events are evidence that, well, perhaps the other person is not as righteous. But as to what happens, well, or what she has to say about it, she isn't... I'll be honest, a cleric of Caldera would know a good bit more about the intricacies of her teachings. I only caught, some of the lessons, as it were.
Well, thank you anyway. It's very insightful. Like I mentioned when we met in Torch, I'm very interested in the gods that you all worship, and a bit more so now. The luck thing you said is interesting. So, do you think maybe me not taking them seriously could have had something to do with my bad luck earlier today?
Is it possible? Certainly. But at the same time, we learned that this Fergus Shoud worships a god of accidental death. So, we learned rather quickly that there may be a good deal of misfortune just within the very walls of that choking tower. There could be a little bit of both at play, I suppose, but all I know is we're going to be exceedingly careful as we continue to explore that place. I'm confident that Shoud was not defeated. He simply went into the floor, and the tower's hundreds of feet tall. It's going to be a lot of listening and looking and searching and trying not to touch things and maybe not breathing too deep, definitely wearing masks. It's activating said masks. I'm glad that you're back, Alan, but I hope your newfound curiosity is rewarding for you.
It's certainly something else to think about. I'm also glad I'm back. It felt longer, but I'm glad I'm back. And I think then he'll just kind of sit there cross-legged and watch Asher work at making his ammunition.
Brixby is going to scribe a couple scrolls before bed while everyone is doing everything else. I mean, before the end of the day, I suppose.
All right, and so you pass the 21st of Rova, mostly in Idenvay, though I guess Kira is back in Torch for the time being. The group is about as spread out as you've really been, at least overnight. Then in the morning, does Kira return first thing in the morning? Does she come back late at night? What's her plan?
Yeah, she'd come back late at night. Take a nap on the moth.
That's the safest possible place to snooze.
That's the commercial.
And so the sun rises on the 22nd of Rova, and the very reassembled four are together in Idenvay. What's the plan?
You should put their hands in and do one of those things. Very reassembled 4 on 3. 1, 2, 3. Very reassembled 4.
Very simple, for quick, tell legal. That also needs to be copyrighted.
TM. That's all you have to say. TM.
You could just say it.
TM.
TM.
Yeah, that's how it works. I declare TM.
I was going to say I declare bankruptcy.
Brixby and Kira share an office reference fist bump, and the tension is all but dissipated. Much like Ferkasad's face after we shoot him multiple times. Because you're not expecting that ghost, or maybe the chainsaw that is also going to be able to cut you. I was going to, yeah. So, anyway, so I believe we're going to go beat up a ghost in his house.
Beat up a ghost.
This is going to be such a Limp Bizkit heavy arc, I feel.
That is when I was saying I was going to, and then I was like, I'm not even going to tell everyone I was about to make that reference. But thank you, other millennial who also went to nu metal concerts. I appreciate you.
Yeah, Asher is so ready. He has one revolver filled with ghost salt cartridges and another revolver filled with adamantine cartridges. And he's ready to...
Don't tell the GM that. That means the first thing we're going to run into is just like a regular...
It's a plant.
I know, but see, if I didn't say it, then it would be like, it was just filled with mundane cartridges. But don't worry, he also has his +1 pistol. Kind of... I think now he's going to have a holster on each hip and his pistol tucked in the small of his back.
Chest holster.
Just always... No more retrieving anything from backpacks. Just guns all the way down.
You just look like the third brother from the end of Boondock Saints.
Yes.
Just writing down all incorporeal adamantine golems from here on out. Underline that a few times.
I went from 15 adamantine metal cartridges left, so I was getting nervous, up to 75. So feel a lot better about that.
All right, let's go bust a ghost. TM. I said it, it's ours now.
I'm not afraid of him. Or any incorporeal creatures.
I just can't believe that they never thought to just say TM. Gotcha, Dan
They
Aykroyd.
really messed up.
I was going to say Dan Aykroyd can't do anything to us because we said TM.
And then I crush a delicious citrus-flavored Slimer goo tube. TM.
Oh my god.
Ecto-cooler YouTube.
Ecto-gooler. It's great.
Oh, TM.
TM. 3 means you can never take it from us later. Subscribe to our legal podcast.
Where we just make
legal
up laws.
Yeah, it's not sovereign citizens, but it's similar in spirit to the blatant disregard of the law.
It's funnier.
Well,
though.
no, see, the thing is that weird hag house in Sam's backyard is technically on its own... it's not on government land. It's its own sovereign nation, so as long as
Like
we're
sea
there...
land.
We're recording.
Yeah.
It's 12 miles offshore.
Yeah.
It's in international
So
law.
they were
Exclusively
drawing
to
up the land deeds
maritime
in
law.
New York State that technically still was its own separate thing.
Man, we are either giving great fan service and or alienating all of our sovereign citizen podcast base, which there's probably one. Just don't get pulled over on a traffic stop because,
No, it's okay. They were just traveling.
They have a passport.
The most viscous passport.
I appreciated that one, Jiro. Thank you. Okay, so
So,
let's bust some ghosts.
and psychically, Long Dreamer just says, "Yeehaw!" and flies you all back to the Smokewood, and she'll, just strafe the tower, just give it a quick circle on the way in, and land.
Can she drop us on the top and we can skip all the middle levels?
Well, the top
She's
is
not from.
it's like a cone covered in metal pipes, belching smoke. So
I have a chainsaw. We can cut right through that.
Yeah, so she drops us on the top. Asher will boof 10 feet down, boop, inside.
Yeah.
And then open a window, and then they can come in through the window.
Done.
Yeah, no, we're going to speed run this tower.
just so we're clear, Asher wants to go into the top floor of the tower by himself.
Only temporarily by himself,
Guns.
because then the rest of the party will be right there. They would never leave me.
Yeah,
Or
we'll make it in
forsake
6
me.
seconds.
I mean, I'm just saying
Yeah.
we just did a character death episode.
This one isn't my fault, so let's roll.
Asher's like, yeah, no, I'll just go by myself.
I'm kidding. All right, but yeah, partway through, Long Dreamer looks back at us and just puts a little lift sign on the top of their head because we've just been riding with them so much. Is really weird about letting us out of the Moth in that first time. If you ever ridden in a New York taxi, where you're am I being detained? until I pay you. There's just like, I mean, maybe this is just my unique experience of being there as a young person with a large mohawk, but they definitely locked me in the cab until I paid. And I was like, I had all intention to pay you. This is just menacing and horrifying. But anyway, so little exposition there. We don't pay the moth. I'm sorry.
We don't pay them off.
We're gonna kill the ghost.
Yeah, I think us restoring the Dreamwood is payment enough.
Yeah.
Which only means he'll now charge us 20% more per ride after we save his forest.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's those days he
Surcharge.
spent in Torch have taught her how to properly
Charge your heroes.
respond to heroics. Yeah.
Torch. We bleed our heroes. It's just on the bottom of their.
Ooh. It's extortion.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Well, this time we thought the name came from the giant flaming mountain. Nope.
Hey, listeners at home, Sam wants to know what the name of that spell is, and it's Aram Zay's Focus. It's a level 2 arcane spell.
Maybe called Trap Finder's Focus on certain third-party websites.
Oh, that's what it is.
Oh, what are you doing off?
Which one AOM, my guy?
Yeah.
Why? You know, we don't want to alienate anybody, but let's just say there are 2 sites and there's only one that I go to.
I Googled it, and that led me to a certain site that doesn't have the license to use the real names, and then I was just like, this isn't real. Ugh. But it's real. Alright. I'm going to bed. We love you, Archives of Nethys.
Are you really going to bed, though?
Yeah, I'm going to bed.
Oh, okay.
All
Good
right.
night, Sam.
Good night, Sam.
Night, Sam.
Good night,
Good
Sam.
night, D20 PFSRD.
Good night, Blake, and your wonderful site, the Archives of Nethys, as it is canonically pronounced. Nethys.
Mavis.
Frederick Nethys.
That's awful. That's so bad.
Yeah, dislike.
Good night.
Against the machine. Against the machine.
Pot Against the Machine is property of Network Against the Machine LLC, all rights reserved. Pathfinder and the Iron Gods Adventure Path are property of Paizo Publishing. See their website for more details. Theme Against the Machine was written and performed by our own Zach. See the show notes for additional music and sound licensing. If you enjoyed the show, we encourage you to leave us a review.
Guys, I'm so sorry, but also, come on, man. Let's not cat things.
Yeah, we don't approve of cat things.
Sam's job.